someone has requested me to record the meeting, and I think I'm going to start from here. Okay, I think I want to welcome our first keynote speaker. That is RSU Dr. Ronald Ssengendo, but I think he's not yet with us. I think we are going to give him some time. I don't know if he's with us, because in the people who have joined, I can't see him. I think we are going to first give him some time as he prepares to join. But I can see our second keynote speaker, RSU Geoffrey Okeny. I don't know if you can take us from here as we wait for IPP to join us later.
Arnold, I'm not yet ready. I just joined into here because my presentation, I told you I had some issues with my laptop. I've just got it.
Okay.
I will connect after IPP.
Okay. Our past president has joined in. I've seen him. Doctor, we want to welcome you to this meeting. We have joined in at some time back, but we welcome you and honoring this invitation. We are requesting that you help us and be our first keynote speaker and discuss the topic of student benefits as ISU members. Thank you so much.
Okay, good afternoon. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yeah, Doctor, we can hear you.
Okay. I hope you're able to see the screen.
Yeah, Doctor, we can see it.
Okay. Okay, thank you for this opportunity to talk to you. And good afternoon, everyone. I did prepare some few slides to give us a basis of any further discussion. And essentially my slides are looking at what are the benefits of being a member of ISU as a student. Although as a student is not there, but that is really what I'm addressing. Although some of these benefits are not really for students only, they can apply to professionals out there. So I would start by congratulating everyone that after 16 years of school, you are now at the university and you're working towards a really defined output of these many years of school. When we study, we study for close to 20 years without really defined output. So you are now at the level where you are working towards that fine output. And therefore you must be congratulated and you must congratulate yourselves. If you looked at the statistics when the peer results came out, when these people started primary one, there were about 1.2 million students. By the time they start for their, I don't know who has raised their hand now. I hope everyone is able to hear. Arnold, are you able to hear?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, because I see someone has raised their hand. I was wondering. So as I was saying, when you look at the statistics of PLE results released last week, when they started P1, they were about 1.2 million. The results that were released were about 750. So more than half, almost half, drop away. Now, when the S4 is, you look at the numbers, you are likely to see that probably around 300. And then when you go to S6, again, look at the numbers. So really, being at the university, you must be congratulated, and you must also be proud of yourself that you have reached this level. But as that cut there, you see it, what next? And I just noted a few things here that many of you, most likely, surveying or whatever name it is called, was not your first choice course. And wherever university where you were, I know I'm talking to Ndejje students, this may also not have been your first choice for the university. So yes, we congratulate you, but we know these things are there. Many of you are actually thinking that you are doing this course for your parents or guardians. I always find students who are saying, this degree is for my mother, this degree is for my father, this degree is for my guardian. And many of you know nothing or very little about land surveying and geomatics. So yes, you've reached this level, but you don't know where to go. So hopefully when we talk today, and you listen to me and my friend Geoffrey, you should be able to pick a few things to help you move ahead. So, 3 words that you're going to hear a lot as you go on with your life. And that word is simple: choice. You've now, for many of you, this is the first time you have freedom to make a choice. You know, when you study from primary 1 to P7, you're in boarding school. They have very clear rules. Do this, do that, blah, blah. When you go to senior 1, senior 6, you are in boarding school, clear rules. You go back home, you are if you are lucky, you're in a fence, there is curfew. You come to the university, you have all this new freedom. And that presents itself with the fact that you must make choice. And making choice involves decision making. It involves looking at multiple options and selecting one. And really freedom, as you must have seen now, when you have, depending on where you are, if you're in a 3rd year or a 4th year or a 2nd year, you have experienced freedom. You see how good it is that you're able to make your decisions without anyone telling you, now it is prep time, now it is time to eat, now it is time to go to school, now you have this freedom. But this freedom comes with a number of things. One, it comes with responsibility. For example, I always tell the students I teach at Makerere that you can actually miss all my lectures. And I will not, of course, I'll be hurt that you have missed my lectures, but I don't really care as long as you come and pass the paper. So you see, you have choice, but you have responsibility. And as Abraham Lincoln said, you can't escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. Because, for example, if you don't attend lectures, you pass your exams, and you have retakes, then this degree you're working for the last years you will fail to get it. So choice comes with responsibility and also comes with consequences. It comes with consequences that when you make a choice today, it will have consequences tomorrow. And therefore, we must, as we grow up, as we go through university, we must be able to understand that. So, if you are at the university right now, I just noted a few things that may require you to make choices. If you are in 1st year, you may be thinking of change of course. You might even be thinking of changing the university. Because my experience is that 95% of people who end up in land surveying never applied for land surveying as a first choice course. I don't know how many of you, if we were not in this lockdown, I don't know how many of you applied for surveying as a first choice. If we were to take a vote, you may find that out of the 55 here, probably only 10 did. Very few of them. So this is now something. If you're in first year and you still have the opportunity to change course, that is something you're asking yourself. Probably you may be asking yourself, why am I not, for example, saying Makerere University or Chambogo, or even outside the country? Why am I in Ndejje? And you may be interested in changing the course. You are in first year. It's a valid question. But again, whatever choice you make will have consequences. You may be deciding, where do I stay? Is it an hotel? Is it home? Some of you have parents or guardians near the university. But this is something you may be weighing. You're asking yourself, I've earned my freedom after 16 years. Can I still stay home and have that freedom? Have the freedom to go to club, have the freedom to go out, have the freedom to do whatever university students do. That's another question you may be pondering, and again to lead to you making a choice. And then you come to your studies. We have about 4 choices to make. You can set out and say, I'll get a first class. Because it's gotten by people like you, like me, like everyone. But you may say, I'll get a second upper. And even in the second upper, you may decide, I think I'll get a second lower or a second upper. You may decide to get a pass. But we may also decide that I don't want to graduate. These are our choices. And the one I'm talking about today, which societies are you going to join? And what are the benefits that you're going to pick from those societies? I'm sure at your university, you now have Ndejje University Association, you have your old school association, you have your tribe, saying Kobazambogo, whatever they call it. You may even have a district association. You may have religious associations, Rotaract. There are so many. So what are these are going to join? Are you going to join? And what are the benefits? And you may have questions about, do I need a boyfriend, a girlfriend, no relationship? So you could have so many, and all of them really are summarized in those 3 words: choices, choices, choices. You got to make choices, but you got to understand that these choices have responsibilities and also they have consequences. So what is ISU? Many of you may have heard about ISU, but you don't know ISU. So I want to give you a brief history about ISU. So ISU in full is the Institution of Surveyors of Uganda, which is a professional body that was set up in the interest of promoting, advancing, and safeguarding the profession of surveying in Uganda. That is ISU. So we are here to promote, advance, and safeguard the profession of surveying. Because you now who are studying surveying, unlike other people who are doing, say, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, for you, you are studying to become a professional. At another chance, we'll discuss who is a professional, but you are studying to become a professional, and they are very clear professions. For example, a surveyor, an engineer, a medical doctor, a lawyer, an accountant. Those are professions. So ISU is the only professional body legally recognized as qualified to champion development and advancement of the survey profession in Uganda. And briefly, it was set up in 1968 as the Association of Surveyors of Uganda and renamed ISU in 1978. From around 1978, 1980, going through the upheavals the country went through, it was in limbo until 2002, when it was revived. As of 31st March, we had 1,463 members. This excludes the 400 student members, where I understand 60 are from Ndejje. So that is really a brief history of ISU, how it came to be. So what were the objectives of ISU when it was set up? They are about 9. No, they are 11. 1, secure advancement and facilitate the acquisition of knowledge, which constitutes the profession of a surveyor. So this is something we have already looked at, that we must advance the acquisition of this knowledge of this professional called a surveyor. Promote the general interest of the profession. Now, you may have seen on TV, where we go to TV, we field questions, we provide information to the public. We do that because we promote the general interest of the profession. And as you will learn as you go along, I know those who are in 4th year or 3rd year may have learned about it already. Unlike other businesses, surveying, we do not advertise ourselves as individuals. For example, I cannot say Ssengendo and Partners is the best surveying firm in the country, like you see adverts. So the entire advert of the profession is done by the Institution of Surveyors of Uganda. So free, consider and determine matters of professional practice and conduct, act as a voice of the profession, organize professional meetings and activities, establish and maintain a scale of fees, advise on education development, and this is where we come in for you who are still in school. We talk with your universities. I can tell you, for example, that we help in the review of the curriculum of the courses you are doing. And we advise on anything that we think can help you as students. So we act as a liaison with other professional bodies in matters of common interest. So these broadly were the objectives, all are still the objectives of ISU. In terms of membership, ISU has 2 categories of members: full members and affiliate members. Full members include fellows. Fellows are people who have graduated from school, they have become registered surveyors, they are above 35. These are fellows. We have professional members who are registered surveyors. We have professional associates, those who have passed the assessment of professional competence. And then we have affiliate members who include graduates, technicians, and students. So if you want to know what are the rights of these members, then you need to look at the ISU constitution. So broadly, and this is something I borrowed from these associations you see down here, membership in a professional body or association gives you these benefits. These are the benefits that you get generally, irrespective of you are a student or you are a professional. 1, exposure. You build your exposure, you build your brand, and you grow your business if you're a business. But we're going to look at specifically for students later, but generally, exposure. Networking, as we are going to see when you look for students, why networking is important. Like that quote there says, not just who you know, it's who knows you. You be in the know. When you're a member of a professional association, you get exclusive information about market changes, standards, what. You get referrals. Even as a student, Many times organizations write to us and they say, like last year, I think early this year, they wrote to us and said, give us 4 students who have just graduated or about to graduate and who have jobs for them. And what the Secretariat does, look in the membership record, find those students and members and send them their names. Continuous learning, as I explained later, by the time you graduate, almost 70% of what you have studied in your 4 years at the university is not really at the top of the technological level. Technology has already overtaken it, standards have already overtaken it, so you have like 30%. Now, continuous learning will help you to keep yourself at the top of the end. So, in principle, these are what would be the benefits for all members in a professional association. But what are there for students? The first and most important one is networking opportunities. What do we mean by networking? Those 2 figures explain what networking means. Just imagine, as a student, if you are looking for industrial training placement, but you have ever met the owners of farms, registered surveyors in the farms, and they know you by name and face, and you go to their office to ask for placement, and you have another colleague who has never bothered to know these people and is just walking to their office to ask for placement. Just ask yourself, who will get the placement? But how do you know these people? You know these people by being a member of ISU and using the opportunities in ISU, the meetings, the CPDs to network. So when you go to these events, please network. Get to know people. Get to know their names, get to know where they work, get to know what they are specialized in, so that later you will use this point. Number 2, I've called it industrial training prospects, but it is more of job prospects. Just like I told you, imagine that you finish, you are in 4th year, going to finish, and you know you need a job. Imagine you go to someone's office, ask for a position, and this person has ever seen you, you have ever talked to him, probably you even have their phone number, and imagine another colleague who's just moving in straight away. I'll share my story. When I was at the university a long time ago, when industrial training came, my first industrial training, because I was a member of ISU, I knew the surveyors in Association Engineering Surveyors Limited, which is still a company that exists. So I just went there, took my letter, and they gave me the opportunity to train with them. So after my first training, I continued working with them over the weekends. When my 3rd year industrial training came, there was no question about where I was going. I didn't even need to take a letter. They expected me to go back. I went back, did my industrial training, and throughout my 4th year, I would be working with them over the weekend. So when I graduated, I left Makerere on Friday, and on Monday I reported to the office. I already had a job. So there's no way I would have gotten this job if I had not been a member of ISU, because I wouldn't have known these people, they wouldn't have known me, and they wouldn't be willing to give me a job. So really, membership in ISU, as I've told you, we have 1,463 members. So imagine whatever chapter you are in, but most of our land surveyors, imagine getting to know over 700 land surveyors. They know your name, you know their names, you get their phone numbers, they have seen you. Imagine what that can do for you in terms of job prospects. Mentoring. When you're at the university, you have very good lecturers, but as you can already imagine, again, if you are in third, fourth year, your lecturers may not be able to know everything. They may not be able to support you in everything that you will be as a surveyor when you graduate. Now, when you come to ISU, you get the mentoring that you may not be able to get from the university, because ISU has 1,463 members and growing, and of different levels. You may get advice from a fellow, then you may get advice from a graduate, you may get advice from a technician. You may even find that, for example, a technician knows better how to use, for example, GPS than, for example, a fellow. And this is all what you get from being a member of ISU. 4, continuous professional development. As I've told you, studies show that when we are at school, what we study in almost whatever field you are in, 60 to 70% by the time you graduate is no longer as applicable as when we studied it. Now, the question would be, where do I get to know all these other things? That is through continuous professional development. And you are so lucky that whereas COVID has its challenges, but in certain ways, it was a blessing in disguise, because over the last almost 2 years, many of the CPDs are on Zoom and they are free of charge. So the only thing you need to do is have some MBs and you'll be able to listen in, and you're listening to people at the top of their field. You are listening to a judge of the High Court, you are listening to an MD in a bank, you are listening to people at the top of their fields, and you are gaining this information while you are still a student. So you can actually use this information to even make money. Now, you cannot get all this if you're not a member of ISU. Access to resources. What do I mean by resources? Newsletters, magazines, upcoming opportunities, fellowship opportunities. As you see on this slide, when you're a member of ISU, you get access to the Surveyor. The Surveyor is a magazine of ISU every year. This magazine has wonderful articles, the best articles you can get in surveying, telling you what are you supposed to do, how are you supposed to do things, what are the new trends. That's just one part. But being a member of ISU means that you also become a member of international organizations. And what are these international organizations? There is the African Association of Quantity Surveyors. And the lady you see there, Patience Namgeng, was first runner-up in an award for Africa Graduate Gold Medal Award, because she was a member of ISU as a student. What the association did, send us names of the top students who graduated in quantity surveying. The lady you see there smiling is Michelle Nagawa. Maybe some of you know her. She won a fellowship from the International Federation of Surveyors called FIG. And she went to Senegal, fully sponsored, ticket bought, hotel paid, spending money paid. If you get the magazine, you should be able to read about our experience. She's saying the Young Surveyors Network organized the second young surveyors meeting in Dakar. Our very own Michelle, a student of land surveying, won a grant to participate in this meeting. Here is her experience. Now, she didn't win because she was a student in Chambogo. She won because one, she was a student in Chambogo, but also she was a member of ISU. I can tell you, for example, I was the president then, and I wrote for her a very good recommendation letter. And she won a fully sponsored trip. Now, for some of us who come from poor families, getting on a plane is a very big thing. I don't know how many of you have been on a plane. Now, for her, she was fully sponsored. But no, that's not all. ISU has MOUs, and one of them is CAD Center. What does CAD Center do? They can train you in AutoCAD. And because you're a member of ISU, you get a discount. They can also sell to you AutoCAD. And because you're a member of ISU, you get a discount. So the opportunities are enormous. And this is Michelle receiving a certificate. Now, she's going to use that certificate on her CV. Now, you imagine you apply for a job, you have the same degree, but first she has another certificate from FIG saying she won a fellowship and attended this workshop. Now, imagine the people giving the job. You see, you have the same degree, same class, same university. They start now looking for other things that are not necessarily about studying. 5, and this is the most important and last one, getting your name out there. ISU gives you the stage, the opportunity to get your name out there. The actual opportunities for leadership, opportunities for making presentations, opportunities for writing articles. And I've put these photos there. I think you see Arnold now. He's dancing with the big boys. He's on the same flyer with the immediate past president of the Institute of Surveyors of Uganda and the chapter chair of land surveying. But he's a student. You look at these two guys here, these are the immediate student representatives. Here's Mr. Ndejje getting an award, and he's going to put that award in wherever he works or in his home. And you compare if you has not done this service and him. Getting your name out there. Again, Michelle is there. She was at our recent pre-AGM conference. She presented her experience in a room of over 500 surveyors. 500 surveyors, fully sponsored. She was sponsored. Her attendance fees were paid. She was given a certificate. So really you can see, if I'm really to bring in some joke here, if she didn't have a boyfriend, you just imagine being in front of 500 surveyors, some as young as 26, and they see a very nice lady. Probably she could have won herself a husband. And she's receiving a certificate from the Commissioner of Surveys and Mapping. Now, imagine if she ever went to the Commissioner of Surveys and Mapping's office. She may even go with a photo and say, "See, Commissioner, you have ever seen me somewhere?" So really, these opportunities are enormous. Opportunities of writing articles. I don't know if some of you know her. She's Ndejje Nagai. Now she's a graduate of Makerere. She has been writing in the ISU magazine. That was in 2019. Writing about something that she's even writing about real estate investing, an opportunity for surveyors. So she's saying if you have some money, put it in investment. But she's a student. This is another student from Chambogo University. And I suggest to you, and I suggest to Arnold, please get the magazine of 2019 and share it with your colleagues, because she's talking about the arts and tips of networking at events, because you really need this knowledge. But she's a student. She was a student. Now she's a graduate. Emmanuel again. He comes in and is talking about a shared economy, Uganda's perspective. So not even land surveying, is learning to do things beyond surveying. Again, Nakato Sylvia comes back, the pros of continuous professional development. She's a student writing about CPDs, and in a magazine read by 1,463 surveyors. And this magazine, we even give it out to our sponsors, our partners. So she has a name there. So as I want to end my talk, ISU gives the opportunities to form what we call social capital, or simply friendship. You meet all these people, you end up becoming friends with them. As I've told you, I did my industrial training in associate engineering surveyors, and my first job was there. Those people I worked with are still my friends up to today. But this is more than 20 years ago. So really, ISU gives you this broad perspective. And as I was saying, if you are a lady and you are even looking for a marriage partner, I've seen so many surveyors get marriage partners in ISU. They are both surveyors, and you realize where did they meet? Probably in an ISU meeting, ISU CPD, and they started moving there. So it gives you that social capital. But also, ISU gives you an opportunity to acquire soft skills. If, for example, you make a presentation like Michelle did in a room of 500 people, you imagine speaking to 500 people. Do you think you'll fear to speak to an interview panel of 5 people? No. Time management skills. You learn how to manage time. So finally, what I would want to leave you with, as students, be open-minded. I always tell people, and I always tell my students, somewhere here can tell you, that the 4 years you spend at the university are the best years of your life in terms of charting your life. The basics matter. When you're communicating with people, be courteous, keep time, invest your time, and sometimes money. I know when we organize some events like a pre-AGM, we will say you have to pay some money. Invest that little money, because what you may get from there is so broader than that money you are going to spend. Be willing to learn. In fact, sometimes be willing to unlearn what you have learned so that you learn new things. And keep on trying, even if you don't succeed many times. Sometimes when you go to these events, you may come out and you have no phone number of a senior surveyor you've got. Don't lose hope. Try another event, and I can assure you, you will be able to get something. So thank you. I hope that this talk has been helpful to you. I don't know, Arnold, if there are any comments or questions. I'll be very happy to take them. Thank you. Arnold? Hello? Yes, Arnold? Helen, please. Arnold, I think is...
Hello.
Yes?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yeah, please go on and moderate. I don't know how you've arranged because I don't see Arnold here, but please take over and moderate.
Yes, hello to everyone. As we're still waiting for Arnold, I think I can be taking over this part of questions. This is Kamia Alex, the president in NUSA. Thank you for everyone who have attended. Thank you, our doctor. Before I welcome questions, I personally had a question to you. I just want you to help us. I want you to help us and advise the younger surveyors in this meeting, like besides joining politics, like the likes of Arnold, how they did, and all other people, besides joining in the internship, besides all other opportunities, how best can a younger surveyor try his or her level best to see that he or she is actively involved in the ISU tasks and say that he or she can tap on the opportunities that can come, minus being the presidents, minus being the those activities that are concerned with the politics. How can one try his or her level best to participate in? Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kamia. Of course, there are many opportunities. One, ISU has committees dealing with many issues, and I can ask Arnold to give you these committees. And some of these committees, students are members. I'll tell you, for example, that there's a publication committee that publishes the newsletter, that publishes the magazine. And I can tell you over the last 3 years, it has had young people, and most of the young people are students. There is a young surveyors task force. Again, this young surveyors task force is supposed to have major young people, and many of them are students. I can tell you, for example, that Michelle Nagawa is the chair of the Young Surveyors Task Force. Emmanuel Rakonano, who is, I think, even a student, is also a member on that committee. I can tell you that I think there are other 2 students members on that committee. There is even a women in surveying task force. I know students are members of that committee. So there are many opportunities. The opportunities also, sometimes we have events and we need volunteers. Again, Sarah can talk about it. If you were at the pre-GM this year, many of the people that were manning the desks were students. So there are many other opportunities that you can gain from being a member of ISU, simply from being just student rep. There are many opportunities. You can work on the committees, you can volunteer to work, say at the events. So there's a lot that you can do. Just get rep, and then of course the secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope Arnold is back. You can take over, please.
I'm back. Karamaji, you have a hand up, please. Can you answer? Can you ask your question?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Doctor. My name is Karamagi Augustine, the speaker and Ndejje University Surveyors Association. Mine is just a concern and a concern. Yeah, for the past years, like as if Ndejje, we are like in a different association, we are not part of ISU. Even like the information, the way we receive it from ISU, sometimes we don't get it. Even when you go to certain offices, they say, hey, you're from Ndejje. Even surveying, even in Ndejje, there is surveying, like as if there is a gap. So like how can the ISU try to bridge that gap? Like even sometimes they say you are far away or so. That is just a concern, my humble concern, sir. Otherwise, thank you very much. Really, we are very happy that we have had our first meeting with ISU for all those years, like to really meet those top people. We are really proud. We have been guided. We have mentored. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Karamaji. Yes, I will agree with you that there's of course because the course is new in Ndejje, many people, many surveyors are really not aware that there is a course in Ndejje. But also, it also comes from you. I'll tell you, for example, that in 2018, 2019, the student representative was Ronald from Ndejje. I hope some of you met him there when he was at Ndejje. Today, the student representative is Arnold from Ndejje. And the reason why we did that is that we did the rotation, is that we realized that if we don't do the rotation, it end up only electing representatives from Makerere, because it has been there for a long time and it has more student numbers as members of ISU. So what we did is we said, okay, it's going to be rotational. So you can see in 2018, 2019, it was Busura from Ndejje. In 2019, 2020, it was Godwill from Chambogo. In 2020, 2021, Emmanuel Kwanaho from Makerere, and now 2021, it is Arnold. So that's one. But also, we've done now we've done more engagement with the legislation board, with surveyors, and now many surveyors are aware that there is a possibility. But of course, you as students must also become part and parcel of ISU and participate in the activities, and then people will get to know more about Ndejje. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, Doctor. Yes, this is Mwamanya Hassan, a fresh graduate from Chambogo with civil and building engineering. So my concern, sir, is like, can I also join this association? Since we all know surveying has acted as a grassroots in almost engineering fields across the country. So how do I join, and what is your take about my opinion to join this Institute of Professional Surveyors? Yet I'm a civil engineer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Nwamanya. Of course, now what I would advise you is to join UIPE. You can only join ISU if, for example, you decide to go back and do a degree in surveying, then you can join. But for now, I would advise you to join UIPE as because that's where you fall, and that is where you will develop professionally better than ISU.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, Arnold, any other questions or comments?
I see a hand from Alex.
Yes, before Dr. Hugo, I would like you to help us and throw more light about the opportunities when someone is just graduating and he or she wants to join directly on master's degree, maybe from abroad. Is there any opportunity that comes via ISU? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a good question. One, we as ISU, we do not at the moment have direct opportunities that come to us. However, because in ISU, we have members in different organizations, many of these members actually post opportunities direct on our chat groups. I don't know if you have your chat group for Ndejje, but I'm sure Arnold, who is on the governing council page, he gets all opportunities. Some I post them myself, some are posted by our colleagues. For example, I think yesterday we posted the equity scholarship at Manchester University. Some of the pages. If Arnold didn't receive it, I'll send it to him. This is an opportunity for people who want, for example, masters in GIS. It's there. we also post links to the FIG, and the website is simply fig.net. On that very website, there are also links to scholarships. There is a colleague of mine, Anthony Gidudu, always on these chat groups, he posts links to scholarships. So they are being a member of ISU and having a chat group, for example, of students, you will be able to get all these opportunities when they are posted by other people. So that's not a problem. But I would say, and this normally I talk about it when I talk to final year students, I always tell students to give themselves 2 years after
Thank you,
graduation.
Doctor. And guidance.
Hello? Yeah, I was saying
Yes,
that
we
I always
can hear
give
you.
students, I always give students advice that when you graduate, give yourself 2 years before you think of further studies so that you are able to use some of the knowledge you have gained and are able to decide where you want to go. Can we take like 3 final ones and then we
Yeah, I'm going to allow Chiwumulo and Peter. Then the rest we shall try and see if the session ends, and if we have time, then we shall share the next questions. Or if you can share the questions in the chat group, then I will write them down. Then we shall discuss them later. That would be also a better option. But let me allow Chiwumulo to first ask his questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ssengendo, for your presentation. Mine is more of an inquiry. Is it possible to have the surveyors in ISU to kind of mentor the student surveyors? It's not a question, it's an inquiry.
Okay.
Dr. Ssengendo, inquiry.
Yes.
Is it possible to have ISU surveyors mentor the student surveyors, like whichever student surveyor registers in ISU, to have a mentor to help guide them? Because many of us have been in ISU, but okay, we kind of need mentors to help us like maneuver through the surveying field. So if it's possible to have the ISU surveyors probably be given student surveyors to mentor, that would be very good in helping us as student surveyors.
Okay, I'll answer them. I can take the questions at once and then we answer at once.
Okay, Peter, please ask your question.
Good evening, members. I was also looking for a platform that can be created to update students on whatever happened at ISU, because most times we get this information just through people's WhatsApp updates and the rest, which sometimes may not give you enough time to prepare for these meetings, like a WhatsApp group or something that can be updating students in time. Thank you.
All right,
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Arnold. And now I'll first of all start in the chat. I think it is Karamaju asks that why do students have to pay annually, yet they don't work. One, in life, there is no free thing. The institution maintains the secretariat. The institution does not actually receive any money from government. The money that maintains the secretariat is money from the members. Now, as students, for you to actually even feel that you belong, you must also pay a little money. And I think you pay, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately for you students, I teach at Makerere, and some of the students in Makerere in my class have better phones than even my phone. So now if you are telling me here that you can't afford 20,000, then there is a problem. You can afford that 20,000 because it is an annual fee. It's not like every month. If I told you what I pay as a fellow, then you would say, in Rwanda, even when I work. That's one. Then Chumulo asked, yes, I agree with you. And I think this is something that the Secretariat has taken note of. One of the roles of the Young Surveyors Task Force is to create a mentorship program, not only for students, but for all young surveyors.
One of the roles, is it?
Young surveyors. So, yes, this should be worked on and in a structured way. But as I told you, where you go and do training is important.
The thing is nice, interesting.
For example, if you talk to Veronica, one training with me, she will tell you that even when she's not doing training, the mentorship doesn't stop. We continue with it. So, of course, this is not well, but the mentorship doesn't stop. So, but I know the Secretariat has taken note, and Arnold has taken note. This is something that will be worked on to make sure that there is a clear mentorship program for young surveyors, but especially students. Then someone asked, I think it's Edith, in the chat, she asked that, what are the advantages of being a student member and another one who joins as a graduate? I mean, one clear one, I will tell you. For example, if I'll use Veronica because she's, I think, even here, if she completes her school and she wants to look for a supervisor, she already has me as a supervisor. So without any asking, because she was a member of ISU, she trained with me, so I know. Now you is coming in, the first problem you're going to face, who is going to be your supervisor? That's the first problem you're going to face, because no one is going to be knowing you. And one of the challenges is getting actually the supervisor to move you forward. Because the supervisor doesn't need to be someone employing you. It may be someone not employing you, but is helping you grow and in the profession. So that is a clear advantage. And then, of course, the other things. If you join as a graduate and I'm giving a job and I see this person has been a student member for 4 years and you as a graduate, I will tell you, if I'm that panel, I will advise that the one who has been a student member gets the job. As I've told you, last year, we got a request. This year, actually, we got a request for four graduates. But you see, you had not yet graduated. So you are still students. But what we did, what the Secretariat did, they looked at the members of who are in 4th year, told them, bring your testimonial, and I'm sure jobs. So I can go on with the advantages. So it's really up to you. Yes, Arnold? Yes, fine.
Thank you, Doctor, for that.
Sorry, let me finish with this. Someone asked that.
Okay.
I think it was Peter. I don't know Arnold, but there used to be a page of students. I think it's called institutional something, which are students only. If it is not there, I suggest that you work with the Secretariat and create a page specifically for students. Okay. Telegram, WhatsApp, Signal, whatever, so that the students are able to get information straight away. Because when I send information to the Secretariat, they actually send it on all ISU WhatsApp groups. So if it's not there, please work with the Secretariat and have this done so that I can see the students who are complaining that they don't know where to get that information. So thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I want to say that the group of institutional surveyors for students is there, and those students who are there can confirm that the Secretariat ladies actually share their share the information on every day. If it is if it is anything that you share to the secretariat, most of the information is shared to that group. But I think it will need some updating and maybe get the right people, because that group, I think, still has people that were still students. I think like even like 3 years back, that even graduated, but are still in that group for students. And maybe due to the cause of the limitations on the WhatsApp, as someone has said in the chat, maybe if we keep updating and maybe remove the graduates from the students page, maybe that would also be a good idea. I'm going to work with the secretariat and make sure that the institutional group of students is really back and the information can be shared at once. I can inform all these people that have attended that there is a group we have. We are presidents. I think I'm going to work with them at least to share, to give them the link of the institution of the, like share the link of the group and share it to their respective class groups. Then they can join and as we keep updating. Thank you. Doctor, I was requesting you, guys, thank you for the questions in our chat groups. If your question hasn't been answered, we're going to wait for the second speaker to first speak, then we can come back. But allow me invite our second keynote speaker, RSU Geoffrey Okeny. Doctor, if you can help me give him the host rules, because Sarah has moved me as a co-host.
Oh, okay. Let me look for Geoffrey's Sarah, you may have to allow Geoffrey to share his screen, because I'm also not able to allow him. Sarah,
can you hear us?
Hello, Sarah. I don't seem to have the capacity to allow him to share. Let me try.
I think it's.
Are you able to?
I think Sarah would be the person well to give him the.
Yeah, Sarah would be the person. Let me try.
Doctor, I think you can make him a co-host.
I'm also already just a co-host. So I'm trying to, I do not see where I can allow him to co-host. I don't have all the privileges. Arnold, try to call Sarah and see.
Okay, let me call her.
Is a co-host now.
I think she has made me a co-host. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to start by appreciating my senior IPP, Dr. Ronald Ssengendo, for the very insightful and elaborate presentation. I am going to just be brief on my introduction. For Dr. Ssengendo, it doesn't need introduction, but me, I need to introduce myself. I'm Geoffrey Okeny, RSU. I am the chapter chair of Land Survey chapter of the Institution of Surveyors of Uganda. I completed my studies from Chambogo about 13 years ago. I also did project planning and management from UMI. I'm a fellow of the Institution of Surveyors of Uganda. And yeah, we are serving the institution together. I've been working with ISU for the past years. I was first working as the vice chair of Northern Region. I would not add or supplement already what my seniors explained. There are too many benefits of belonging to a family called the Institution of Surveyors of Uganda. Today, I am sharing with us about technological advancement in surveying profession. Because if you are in other chapters like valuation and QS, you may not benefit so much because it's a bit biased to learn, not a bit, it is biased to learn surveying only. This technology also is interesting. So these are my outline. I'm just going to give you some few definitions, reflections on past methods and tools used, present the situation overview, focus on the future of surveying profession, some of the things that I've managed to gather, identify opportunities amidst the challenges, and recommendations and conclusion. One of the things I want to say, especially to the student, I could hear your passions and the question you're asking. I think mentorship is one of the things that I agree that we need to really work on it. I'm one person who believes in training people because it's better you hire people you are training than getting people you have no attachment to. And I can tell you, when I was working, I'm still working with New Plan. When we were working on the pipeline, we needed 160 land surveyors. Now, this is why you need to be very serious with your engagement with a professional body like ISU, because the people we gave priority to were the members of the profession. Why did we do so? It is much better, or you much more compatible with a man or a woman who has been part of the institution. And those who are not, we compel them, at least those who are under me, I had to compel them to join the institution. Because you know, the people belong to a family of professionals, have some sense of responsibility. And of course, through the training, the CPDs, there are several things that we learn that keep making us better and better and better. So I really encourage as many of you as possible to join. And of course, sometimes mentorship is not about us looking for people to mentor. Rather, the mentee have to look for us. If you approach me and say, I want you to mentor me, I don't think I would say no. So it's all come back to both of us. When you reach out, you can be helped. But if you don't reach out, it is difficult for us to impose ourselves on you. So let me get to the gist of my presentation. Technology, the term technology is the use of science in industry, engineering, etc. to invent useful things or to solve problems. The practical application of knowledge, especially in a particular area. Mark the word practical application. We check from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. It refers to the methods, systems, and devices which are the result of scientific knowledge being used for practical purposes. Again, the aspect of practice comes. Who is a surveyor? Because we are talking about technological advancement in the surveying profession. Surveyor, as defined by the Surveyors Registration Act, include land surveyors, quantity surveyor, building surveyor, mining and hydrological surveyors, and valuation surveyors, as well as land agent and other professionals responsible for management of land or building. I just needed to make it brief, but I know you have definition of who a surveyor is from your class. Just to add a reflection, surveying has evolved over the years. If you could look in those pictures, in the past, according to Paul Walsh and Charles Gilani, the earliest surveys recorded in history dated as far as 1400 BC, where Egypt was subdivided into plots for purposes of taxation. So you can see where surveying started. Surveying has seen quite a number of evolution, both in method and the tool employed. I am sure that when you did implementation at your school, for those of you who could be in second year, you would have interfaced with different instruments. Some of them include chains, include the knotted ropes used by Egyptian surveyors who applied perfect right angle 3-4-5 triangle principle in the construction of pyramids over 3,000 years ago. Hence the name rope stressors. They used to name surveyors rope stressors those days. And then, of course, the other issues, the chain came in, they used to do chain measurement. That's where the chain name came in. In about 120 BC, surveying saw an advent of Jopta equipment that enabled surveyors in using the diopter method, the grommer for sighting, libella for leveling, and corrobates for leveling. With the Industrial Revolution, though, there was a very serious transit from those other methods, and theodolites came in. And then, of course, in the recent past, we have seen evolution from theodolites to EDMs, the steel tape measurement, which was still being used. Even today, some people still use tape alongside other methods. But we must agree that the last 20 years, we have seen a very serious technological improvement on the horizon. The coming of the GNSS equipment, the drone, the LiDAR equipment, we have seen this equipment come in. This trend will continue with surveyors becoming more reliant on new and advanced technology. You know very well that today there is fit for purpose land administration where land, they load orthophoto of a certain resolution on tablets, and these are used for demarcation of lands, especially the rural land, where the accuracy is not so tight. For massive surveys of land, and this we have seen it cut costs of land surveying. This has been done, I think, in Rwanda and other part of the country, but also in Uganda. They have been using the fit for purpose in the north, in Yam, I think in Barara, and some other part of the country. We have been seeing the use of tablet for carrying out this survey. And the trend, we are not moving backward. Like the river, the water of the river does not flow backward. We are not moving backward. Things are changing. Technology is improving the life of many experts, not only in the field of surveying, cutting the cost, cutting time span, and also cutting the number of people who are involved in surveying. Example of new advancement in technology, I talk about the GNSS equipment. GNSS equipment has it has evolved over time. They started with single frequency, got now dual frequency. Now you have GNSS equipment of very many channel and frequencies, which you can use for carrying out your work. And they kept improving. Now you have those GNSS, you can measure a point when the pole is tilted, and it has the capacity to correct those measurements without a lot of trouble. We have the coming of the continuous operating reference stations, the core stations. I'm aware, or you could be aware as a student, as you went to do practice in some of the firms you did in that sort of training, that most of the firms around now, they use these core stations, either private or government core stations, for carrying out surveying. Now, this has cut, of course, definitely the number of people who are involved in measurement. There is nothing like getting someone to keep the base station. It has cut the number of hours you take for carrying out survey. For example, if you are going to do a survey probably about 50 kilometers from Kampala, you have to locate a control, put the base there, and do static on site, transfer the base there. I remember when we started, I started using GNSS equipment in the early, around 2010 there. We could spend a lot of time in the aspect of putting the extending control using GNSS. Then you have to keep shifting the base, which is not so with the core station. The core stations, as long as it is within the range for quality data, you just do your measurements. You can see how it has really made life much easier. Of course, it has its own challenges, as we will see at the slide for challenges. Technology comes with challenges, especially when people do not know how to take advantage of the technology. You can also now do your static with few receivers and download the soft copy of the static data from these core stations and process it using the commercial software. Or if you're using the government core station, the UGRF, you can actually send those data online and you get your data processed, you download your static reports and compile your JRJ or whatever job you're doing and submit. So this has made life much easier. The use of unmanned aerial vehicles, such as the popular one, of course, is drones. Some of you could have seen drones during function where they're mapping. Okay, they're taking photographs, but a drone for surveying. Drone can be used for doing survey where it's not very accessible, but can also be done. You can use drone for carrying out topo. We did a project in Sebotore in Kibale National Park in Kabarole district. And we were doing a walkway, canopy walkway in that forest, in that park. And we needed point cloud. We needed to know the heights of the trees. But to hire a LiDAR to do that work would be very expensive, would be more expensive. So we had to use a combination of the conventional methods and the drone. And so we did a topo, ground topo with a total station, because the area is small. The area is about, I think it was about 3 acres. We did that, and then we put control, ground control, and a drone flew. So we processed the drone data, the point cloud on the top surface of the tree. We also did surface with our topo data, and we were able to reduce the point cloud from the top of the tree down to the ground level where we are interested in to get the point cloud down. But also we were able to get the heights of the trees, because we are interested in knowing the heights of the trees, because the walkway will go, some support will be on the big trees. So you can see our drone, all these unmanned aerial vehicle can be helpful for you when you're doing work or on a big project, or on a project where you need to either combine the conventional and this modern equipment. We also use drone, although this other one was having a LiDAR sensor for the Eco pipeline. Eco pipeline is the East African crude oil project pipeline. We start from Oima and run through 10 districts up to Mutukura, the border of TZ. Now, we did fly the entire pipeline for purposes of curbing speculators. After the cut-off date, when they flew the drone, we were able to know which place that did not have a structure. So you can see how technology can help you to actually be able to have certain level of control and guide you in decision making. Recently, I had a scenario where one of my assistants, I sent them to do a field work, and I think they were conniving with the client to grab land. And they were telling me the land is bigger, although they are not cover everything, but they surveyed 4,000 acres. They did not cover everything. They were supposed to survey like 25 square miles. Then the guy was convincing me that the guys can go and survey the other part. Then I became inquisitive. How can you have land for 2 people or for 1 family covering 25 square miles? They told me I didn't know people there. I wanted to go and visit the site, but I said, you give me the data and I check. So I got the auto photo and I checked. I was surprised to see many homesteads within that piece of land. And then I told the client, I think you're not telling me the truth. This area is very, very occupied with people. Therefore, I cannot proceed with this work until I go on ground and meet the people on ground. So you can see how technology can make your life easy. Auto photo today is used by people in the land office, in MZOs, for checking our surveys. So technology has evolved and has improved and helped to reduce a lot of tedious work. I'm sure you know that when we started those days, I don't know today, when we're doing training, I remember survey camp, we used to plot our topo data manually. The topo data, we would pick it with the theodolites, and then we have to plot it manually. I don't know whether it's still done today, but you can see now today, you can actually do your topo on AutoCAD within a short time, and you have your topographic map. You can compute the volume of cut and fill within no minutes, which is not the same with those days. There is an advent of robotic total station. Robotic total station is majorly good for open space, especially when you're doing construction. It's actually one-man equipment. You set it, and then you can be able to control it from the sensor you have as you move and take measurement. We use this robotic total station when we're doing the planning the second route for the northern bypass with some white surveyors from the UK. So then there is also LiDAR and radar. This is mainly done for observation where this conventional, first of all, the project is very big. For example, if you are going to do mapping or you want to do topographic survey along the river bank, and it is for about 150 kilometers along the river, it is not advisable for you to deploy the conventional method. First of all, you're going to take too much time. Secondly, it is risky. Some bank of the river has a very steep cliff, which is risky in terms of health, safety. So instead of going for conventional, you can actually use these other methods. I can go on and on. I just want to summarize because of time. So when you are abreast with this technology, that's why, as Doctor has been explaining to us, as you continue to attend CPDs, you learn into detail some of these tools and methods that I've just been explaining to you. You'll be able to learn this and also be able to work in Arnold. You'll be able to actually participate. focusing the future. The table shows predicted automation of property profession according to research by Oxford. This was 2013, a bit old. You can see that they are projecting that the property consultant, they will lose. This is a level where you can see in the future, valuers will be able to lose a lot of jobs because 95% of their job can be automated. Accountant would have 95%. And you see, the more automated the job, it means that the number of people that participate there will go down. It will be cut. But also it is an opportunity for those who take advantage of learning the new technology. Accountant will go to 95, then the agent 68, surveyor 63. This means we will be able to have 63% of our job automated, physical planner 57, property manager 25. So you can see what is likely to happen with such technological advancement. Today's technological combination of GIS and GPS can provide society with solutions to the consistency of location problem that surpasses traditional survey model. I just talked to you about fit for purpose, where mapping, this is a combination of, you're using a GIS concept to be able to map the land boundaries. And these land boundaries are precise. They are precise to a rural accuracy, and it can serve the purpose. The cost is down, and you're able to produce result or title, and the land disputes are reduced. I want to know as student that the policymakers are not looking at your 1 centimeter accuracy. For them, they're looking at how to reduce land dispute, how to get more land surveyed, how to get more political supports. So as long as we can provide that solution, that's why even as a student, as you attend some of this training, you should be thinking, how can I be a relevant surveyor? How can I make myself relevant in my generation? These advances lead to saving time and money. I already explained this. Versatility and simplicity of process. Imagine if I do my static observation connected to UGRIF, and I send that data online when I'm in the field. By the time I reach home or office, I already have this data process. So that means I will be able to deliver a result to my client within a shorter period of time than if I'm to do my static using my base station. I start uploading on the software, and I have to process and then get accurate result. So these changes are actually good for us. We must embrace production of more precise and accurate measurement. Technology always comes with improved version of the equipment. Threat to surveying. Now, of course, like I explained to you, as things get more automated, the number of people are cut down. Today, if you are going to use GNSS equipment for carrying out measurement, you don't need many chainmen. Probably you don't even need many survey assistants. Unlike if you are doing those observations you are carrying out those observations using a total station. I hope I'm being heard. You know, with this technology, you can be talking to yourself. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I think we are here.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So some of these technological changes are a threat. For example, traditional surveyors who are probably old, they cannot adopt easily rigidity. You're so rigid, you don't want to learn something new, you can get into trouble. Imagine I was not able to check these young man surveyors, these young surveyors work using the available tool. I would sign this IS when the land is being grabbed. and I would be a problem. This can be a problem to me. It can lead me even in prison. It can make me lose credibility. There is also this thing of licensed surveyors are not the only one providing surveying services to the public. I saw a chat. In the chat, one of the surveyors was, the student was asking when the student surveyor goes to do survey and the client is rude to himself. First of all, what you are doing is not right. If you are a student, you are a student, you are not a surveyor. This is opening a lot of a kind of womb to surveying profession. This is where now we have the chainmen masquerading as the surveyors, the brokers masquerading as surveyors. These are not surveyors. And believe me, if you don't behave well and you show wrong behavior to people who are non-surveyors, when the other non-surveyors also learn the same way, tomorrow you have invested in surveying. They will actually destroy your profession, but you have assisted them to do that. Some surveyors, you as a student, you are trained, you know how to compute JRJ. You are the one who actually help these chainmen and these brokers to do what is not supposed to be done. Of course, there is also misconception that society needs us and that license protects us from obsolete. That is not true. No professionals pass value ensure their future value to the society. What does that mean? There is no way, like I said, water flow backward in a river. The water is flowing forward. But the fact that you're a registered surveyor, licensed surveyor, graduate surveyor does not mean you cannot be obsolete. If you are not learning something new, you're not updating yourself. That is why the continuous professional training is the CPDs are very, very important. Every time I go for a CPD, I learn something new, even something that I think I know. When I attend those CPDs, there is something that I learned which I didn't know, which made me a better person. Deciding to remain ignorant of the technological changes, I think I've already talked about that. If you decide, I've met surveyors who say that, I finished my 4 years, I think let me now rest, let me make money. I believe those of you who are still students, you need to broaden your mind. I keep telling the surveyors in Guru, I interface with them a lot. I tell them, if you bury yourself in Guru here, you're going to be a local useless surveyor, where you only know about surveying land, cadastral survey. That's all you know. You are useless. I mean, if the old land in Uganda is surveyed, what are you going to be doing? Okay, we have already had these brokers and the chainmen invade our space. You must be able to actually take advantage of the changes in technology because you know the concept of surveying. That gives you advantage over a broker. That gives you advantage. Our client's definition and perception of who we are matters a lot. And this again comes back to us as surveyors. The way we behave in a community will tell whether we will be treated with respect or not. When I was in Ministry of Works and Transport, when we joined, they knew surveyors as very shabby, very disorganized, drunkards, womanizers, people who are never serious, they don't attend meetings. In fact, that costed the surveying unit in Ministry of Works. Because at the time when I reached, I think we were with the Registrar of Surveyors Registration Board, Mayor Dwayne. We began to fight our space. We began to change the way we dressed. For the first time, of course, you know, government, when you join government, you begin to put on jackets, put on ties, which I never used to do when I was in the private company. So we began to dress like the other people. And actually, when you go to your boss's office, they say, are you a lawyer or you're a surveyor? Because they never knew surveyors could dress smart and still deliver work. We began to actually redeem our name. By the time we were moving to SGR, because we were seconded to work on the Standard Gauge Railway project, we had bought a new set of equipment in that section. We had lobbied for about 500 million shillings for that section. We had lobbied for a vehicle for that section. Now, I don't know what is happening now, but that is what we did by the time we left. That is the same story where I've been working even in New Plan. Surveyors were known as very, in fact, the CEO one time said, you people's coming here has redeemed the image of surveyors here. So what am I trying to say? We can be extinct or a threatened species unless we change our attitude and our image to the public. And that begins with you as a student. How are you behaving? How are you conducting yourself? How do the people in the institution know you? How does your lecturer look at you? Yes, doctor could be your lecturer, or somebody attending this Zoom is your lecturer, but you need to behave well, because if you don't learn how to behave well, even when you come out, you will not behave well. Some unethical issues, you must drop it, because it will destroy your profession, and at the end, you will also be caught in the mix. Unclear procedure of surveying and land documentation. I think I presented this paper in Guru one time. So I think the editing was not done well. So some of the procedure at the land office, because you find things change from this EMZO to the other EMZO, they just, of course, those are challenges of technological advancement. When people are not buying in, they can fail the technology. They can make the technology become a problem. Proficiency in software and devices. I know that with the advent of call station, many surveyors do not even know the concept. They think that call station substitute the concept of surveying. Someone just get a receiver connect, doesn't even check on a control point. It goes to do measurement. Now, that shows there is lack of proficiency in software and the device you're going to use with the tool. So we need to, as you get out or you go for training, make sure you build your knowledge. Mentorship and supervision. That day, we have already talked about this. The students are raising concern about mentorship, but this is not just for students, but even the graduates. There are many graduates that need to be mentored. There are many out there who do not know what to do. In the work we did at Chivale National Park, one of the surveyors came to volunteer to learn the engineering aspect of the thing. But as I was interacting with him, I could see a very big gap. This gentleman is a DSS of a district, but he could see that he lacked essential knowledge of the engineering survey. Brothers and sisters and colleagues, as you get out of the university, you need to know that the difference you have or the extra knowledge you have is what market and sell you. It's not the general paper, it's not the degree you have. If you don't have the skill, if you don't have the something unique that make you hired, like already the doctor has explained some of them. Some of them belonging to ISU, interfacing with the people, you are known, writing an article. In fact, we're asking for, as land surveying chapter, we're asking for articles. You can write a column, and that is how you'll be known. Less manpower required due to technological, I think I already explained that. Opportunities, take advantage of society growing fascination with spatial data and mapping. Yeah. You've been watching the president present on this COVID, the COVID response. The dashboard that is being used was developed by surveyors using GIS. So you take advantage of the growing fascination with the spatial data and mapping. Take advantage, learn GIS, learn the practical operation, the use of the ArcGIS tool, and see how to incorporate it. This will be very key for you. And of course, you see companies like Ramani in Kenya, they have measured on data capture and they sell a lot of digital data and they make money. This is something that as even Ugandan surveyor, we need to look at. How can we build a data capacity, data center where if people want a certain kind of data, they can come to you. Reliable maps. I don't think it is a copy, the only people who have copyright to developing accurate maps is the Ministry of Land. Taking interest in the GNSS technology, divulging much into detail of operating and getting fully acquainted with the core station. Don't just connect and go for measurement. Learn how. Please don't be like a chainman who doesn't understand this thing. Go on internet, read more about this core station, read more about the GNSS, read more about the commercial software for processing the GNSS data. When I was in SGR, I read a lot of material because we were supposed to be supervising and working with the Chinese who are building the class 1 railway. And Chinese have, they have standard for all segment of surveying. They have standard for control surveying, standard for leveling, standard for literally everything, for GIS. So we had to buy those standards from China, and I would spend a lot of time reading those material. I already had 10 years experience, but I had to read, because if I'm going to actually supervise these guys, I need to know what they're going to do. I need to know what their standards say. For us here, we don't have the standard. So I had to go and read, do some extra. Don't say we are in lockdown, we are not studying. It's only a fool who can talk like that. If you're a young man who dream of having a future, get onto internet. Do not use your data just for WhatsApp and for doing things that are useless. Get on internet, look for information you can read. Even some of the material that they share on the ISU page, if they learn on your hands, concentrate, read about it. This even help you when you're doing your examination. Boundary determination facet of surveying has a very narrow and specialized knowledge that does not overlap other disciplines or their knowledge base. So these are opportunity, because not many other guys can be able to determine boundary. There has been a case on the page where there was an issue with the bank. You know, the surveyors are there. If you are smart, you make money and they know you do the right thing and do quality work. Changing trend in technology such as the unmanned aerial vehicle, photogrammetry, remote sensing, GNSS, take interest in photogrammetry, take interest in remote sensing. Today at our office, the people who are working much are the GIS experts, and they are surveyors. They just decided to specialize in GIS. They're the one working in full capacity. The rest are not working full capacity. So you can see surveying equipment calibration. Now, like I said, this was a presentation in the north. My computer actually was acting. I asked one of my colleagues to do this presentation. Professional diversification, advancement beyond surveying. Go for political leadership. Go for management courses. One thing I've learned, even when I work in government and the private sector, they will not give you a very senior position because you have a degree in surveying. No. If you don't have other management course or qualification, you will not get a senior position. So we should not only focus on the technical. As you do masters, mix, go for politics, do business, because at the end of the day, we are looking for a successful surveyor, not the one who is always in the bush, chasing snake and cannot even take care of his family when there is lockdown. Actively monitor development of technology and implement when economically feasible, then ignore them or treat them as irrelevant. Monitor. You can, again, this you can read. You can be following changes in technology and read more so that by the time they get here, you actually know what is going on. Start migrating to georeference platform, GIS, and the right benefit that comes from such data, becoming custodian of such platform. I think I talked about it already. Be innovative in our field practice to find ways of using new and advanced technology more and more than the previous one. GPS, total station, GPS, the drone, the LiDAR, get interested. If you know a company that is doing a project with this equipment, choose to volunteer to go and learn more. Improve our knowledge and comfort with basic principle of surveying. You see, blah, blah, blah. I think let me just go to the end of of my presentation. In conclusion, in the light of the above discussed changes, technology has and will undoubtedly continue to have a considerable impact on the way data is collected, processed, stored, and disseminated. It is only proper for surveyors to strategically position themselves and take advantage of technological changes, like an experienced swimmer who takes advantage of the water current. As a recommendation, the current surveyors, together with the new generation, should explore advancing knowledge in areas such as hydrographic code surveying, deformation monitoring, tunnel survey, GNSS hardware and software, area of research to guide policy formulation and standard. Again, there are some unexplored, not so much engagement. The area of deformation monitoring, hydrological survey. There is a surveyor who works with me, new plan. He's doing masters in hydrographic survey. He's doing masters in hydrographic surveying. I think he's in his final semester. These are things that will add value to you. Think about them. But you see, you can also read and understand some of these things. I read and improved myself in processing the data, GNSS data processing using the commercial software. I taught myself TBC. I taught myself Leica Geoffrey. Of course, now it's Leica Infinity. The only one I could not teach myself is Gamit and Banis, because those are scientific software. But these are the ones you can learn. You can go on YouTube, and the good news is you get trial version or even the crack version of some of this software, and you can learn as a student, so that by the time you finish, you have values. When we were in SGR, I was the only one who knew how to process data. When we came for oil pipeline, I was the chief in charge of processing this data. And there was a surveyor from Total, from France. If I had not spent a lot of time reading in SGR, I think we were going to have trouble. That contract could have probably even been terminated. But I knew what I was doing, and I was able to challenge him anytime he would ask. I want to conclude by saying, observe people who are good at their work. Skilled workers are always in demand and admired. They don't take a back seat to anyone. This is the wisdom of Solomon I got from the scriptures. Thank you for listening. God bless you all. Can I have question? Arnold, over to you.
Thank you, RSU Geoffrey, for that eye-opening presentation. And I'm sure the students who have attended have really gotten their eyes open, and they are thinking of their future right now. I want to request people who have questions before we let RSU Geoffrey leaves, and he first answers some questions, then we can let him go. So if you feel you can either raise up your hand or type your question in the chat. I'll be there to read it out. You can raise your hand, then I'll give you permission. Oh, okay. Yes, Kamiarix, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you, sir. I'd like to inquire from him how far have we gone with the officiating the GNSS GRJ. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex, for that question. Yes, another. Yes, Karamaji, I see your hand up.
Yeah, thank you very much, Arnold. Thank you, RSU Okeny. Mine is just a bit of appreciation on the issue of mentorship. And I still believe, yes, as ISU, we should do more about it, and especially registered surveyors. Why I'm saying that, if I had not got that little time with RSU Okeny at New Plan, when I was at the project in Fort Portal, I wouldn't have improved myself more than I am today. Like I used to, like that little time I had a chat with him, it really helped. So as someone or as a student, you're trying to be there, you try to meet these people and they guide you accordingly. They talk to you what you know, they tell you what, like it really helps. So I'm really thanking, like he was talking about mentorship, learning about what, like it really helped me. Thank you very much, RSU Okeny. That was my concern.
Okay, thank you, Augustine. Yes, Ignatius, I see your hand up.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Tugume and Mr. Okeny. This is Ignatius, a member. I was just requesting if they can help us and get some of those articles people have been writing and we have a look at them. Because some of us are interested in maybe writing and comparing with others what they have written so far. But otherwise, thank you, Mr. Okeny. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, Andrew, your hand is up.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I want to appreciate RSU Okeny for guiding us through this mentorship program. And my question was that what are some of the open free softwares one can download from the internet in photogrammetry? One can learn like personal, like what are those softwares for photogrammetry one can learn and understand on their own that are free and open? Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think
Can I answer this question before we I might get lost.
Okay.
Do we still have IPP on board? IPP has left, eh?
Yeah, I think so.
Meaning Dr. Ssengendo, do we still have him on? I think he has left. Okay. I want to start with the last one. I don't want to say things which I don't have any proven knowledge. Okay. The last question of open software in photogrammetry. I see David Kakoza. David Kakoza is the vice chair for Central Region. Maybe he could give a light on this question number 4 from Andrew about the open source photogrammetry software. I don't want to lie you. This is mainly used by drone and the LiDAR guys. And to be honest with you, I have not had any hand-on experience on drone processing drone data and photogrammetry. And LiDAR data. I think David can say something along that line. Ignatius, you talk about provide the article, some of those articles. I believe Arnold is going to be able to forward because those articles are there. We will get soft copy and share with you. Augustine appreciation, it's amazing. I don't even remember Augustine. Well, thank you for appreciating. How far with officiating Genesis JRJ? First of all, I think this is from Alex. I hope I'm right. From Alex, or one of us who asked for how far. Yes. One of the things you need to know that whatever you do in government must be guided by a legal framework. Legal framework. You must have a law. You must have a law for you to be able to actually get the thing done. Otherwise, these NGOs will jump and go to court and challenge it. So that is why the JRJ, officiating JRJ from the Genesis data is not something that has been open as that. But we are working with commissioner. What he did the other time was to issue a technical instruction for majorly submission of static data, static for control, not really like you do a RTK and you submit. But we are engaging him just because of this COVID lockdown. We were meant to visit him actually this month, which is ending, and have a discussion around that. He promised to write a comprehensive technical instruction that will be able to permit the use of GNSS RTK work. But I also need to let you know that surveyors are very complicated human beings. Surveyors will go and do survey with the RTK, with GNSS, with a flat solution, and will edit it because you download this data in Excel, which means you can edit and put it in a CD and take to land. So that is also one dynamics that might be very challenging in our discussion with the commissioner, but we are going to try and see. I want to see if David can add something. Now, members, I ask you to mute, if you could mute the microphone. Okay. David, do you have something to add on?
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead, David.
Good evening for now. Yeah, thank you, Chapter Chair, for the very wonderful presentation. I myself am also not very acquainted with softwares, but I am aware that the drones, when you purchase a drone, it comes with its software that is tailored to help you process the photos and those other deliverables that you need. So whichever drone you purchase, there is a customized software you're given as a package, and you can use it.
Wow, thank you, David. If you are interested, Andrew, if you are interested, I can introduce you to one of the guy I actually mentor, Crispas Obal. He can be able to help you in that area because he has a drone, and so he can be helpful. Thank you. Now, let me answer the one in the chat room. Let me answer the one in the chat room, if I may. Somebody asked, this is, I'm trying to, somebody asked, how is ArcGIS helpful to practical surveying? ArcGIS is helpful in practical surveying in many ways. Number one, we used to, in the oil pipeline project, we used to use ArcGIS for data transformation. Of course, I didn't go into a lot of what we have been doing because you are a student and I have only less than an hour to present what I'm presenting. So I couldn't go into detail, but you can use ArcGIS in very many ways. One of them we were using it for, because the pipeline was designed in ITRA 2005, TM, transverse marketer projection, TM projection. So we had to do measurement in TM, but remember we are acquiring land which must be approved in our national survey system, which is ACS 1960 UTM projection. So we had to transform all the data from TM projection to ARC, and we use the ArcGIS for the data sheet transformation. So ArcGIS can be used for that. The other thing we use also the ArcGIS for checking, for quality control and quality assurance, for checking out the plotting was as the polygon been plotted well, are they close, or somebody plot and the snapping was not done well. We also use it for checking the area between the surveyors and the land valuer. Are they matching or not? Because we are working with Total and they are very They are very keen on some of those details. That is a question. That was a question from. Was that question from? That was a question from Ariajuka. Then there is another question from.
Geoffrey?
Yes.
There is a question that is it possible for someone to be practicing both engineering and cadastral works?
I think it's better you read for me, Arnold, because you know.
Yeah,
you know
I was saying.
Yes.
Yeah, I was reading, and someone was asking, is it possible for one to do both engineering and cadastral works?
Absolutely. Again, it depends on where you're working. Like I say, if you're working up country and you buried yourself in cadastral survey, you may never encounter in a serious engineering project. Because I gave you reference of the Gulu surveyors. These guys are more on surveying people's land, and that's dangerous. That's very dangerous, because you cannot sell. 10 years down the road, you are not marketable. You don't know nothing about the engineering survey. You've not done anything on roads. I would recommend a young surveyor, as you are doing your practice, as you're surveying land, maybe you somehow, because of jobs which are not available, you got yourself into maybe a district. Maybe you went to Kasese and you're doing work there. Please keep in touch with Kampala. Get people who are doing this big road project. Volunteer if they mean volunteering. Why? Because you have to get experience in this area. Because you see, time will come when you are maybe collaborating with big firms to get jobs of supervision when you are registered. They will not give you that job because they need you to have experience in that field of engineering survey. But if you are blessed to be in a company where I've been working, I work in Ministry of Works and Transport, where I was practicing both engineering and cadastral survey. I work in SGR, where I was practicing both engineering and cadastral survey. When I was in New Plan, I was actually the manager of engineering survey section. So I was doing both engineering and cadastral. But not all of you may have the privilege of being in a company where you're using, you are in this, you are practicing both engineering and cadastral. But you must look for where you can practice the other one where you're not practicing, because those are key. By the way, even when it comes to registration with Surveyors Registration Board, or for presenting your critical analysis report in the Institution of Surveyors of Uganda, cadastral survey and engineering surveys are core. They are core competence. You must write a report on at least one, on both of them. You get it? So it is important that you look for opportunity to do that. I think I've answered it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, ISU Geoffrey Okeny, for your nice presentation. And I think everything can be really observed from the chat group. Everyone is appreciating. I wanted to request at this juncture to again call Kamia Alex to say some closing remarks, and as we end our presentation today.
Thank you, Sir Mr. Arnold. Thank you, RSU Geoffrey Okeny, for the good presentation. I want to thank everyone who have participated. I want to thank the senior surveyor Shaka Thierry for the attendance. Finally, you have attended for the full session. I want to thank Jingo Faizo on behalf of the NUSA, as our former president. I want to thank Andrew. I want to thank everyone that has participated in this. May God reward you abundantly. And I want to pray that we should have more and more sessions of such a nature, not until we be opened. I want to request from Arnold that maybe if possible, and they open up the schools, you can help us and we organize a official meeting with the ISU members so that we can also feel that company when we sing these people really. I know most of the members have missed because of the data issues and other things, but I also want to recognize that most of the members have participated because we've had the biggest number ever. In our meetings, we've been having 30, 20, but today I've seen even the number raising to 70. So thank you for that. I would also like to maybe inquire if it's possible to have a representative per university. Maybe we have a president reuniting all the members, but we have a representative per university because the numbers of the surveying students, they're growing big. Recently, we could have 10, 11 surveyors per class, but now we see numbers are increasing where you can find a class having 50, 40. So if you have 4 classes at Ndejje having 50, that is something like 200 such student surveyors. And at Makerere and Chambogo the same. So one member, one representative, I don't think really he will be enough to share the information throughout all the members, throughout all the groups. Otherwise, thank you to everyone for participating. Thanks, Jonathan. I've seen you around. May the Lord bless you all in abundance for God and my country.
Okay, thank you, our President Nusa, for those remarks. But before we go, I think we're going to first invite Jonathan Ibiakagava to give us our vote of thanks and closing prayer too, then as we end the session.
And our speakers, it's been an honor having you people all around, all the 70 plus who have been around before earlier. I wasn't able to be on for the whole session, more so Dr. Ssengendo's. But one of the few things that I've come to pick from him was, do not think that knowing the theory of surveying will actually be enough for you to make it out there in the profession. Become part of ISU. And he also brought out the thing of priority, professional priority. When they're looking for someone, they'll obviously look for someone who has been part of ISU and from student membership, I mean, because at least they know that they trust this person. And when we came up to my current president, my chapter chair, he took us through a history lesson all the way to LIDAR and how we have transferred from using pegs to tablets. I was gifted the chance to work on an engineering survey project from Mubende Kakumiro Kagadi Road. And one of the surveyors that I worked with, he told me that when they used to set out roundabouts back then, they would spend like 4 weeks just trying to set out the center line while they were using theodolites and levels. But now with the GPS, they 30 minutes and they are done, 20 minutes they are done. Well, equip yourself and take advantage of the technologies that we have and be smart. Do not just, be there. And he gave us how they knew surveyors, very shabby people and the guys who are really late for meetings and all those kind of stuff. Let us not be that. Be the sharp person, be the smart person, and make yourself efficient in the softwares and the devices that we are having. Yeah, be there in the sense that I know the photogrammetric things. I know AutoCAD. I know ArcGIS. I know QGIS. Be someone who is going to, even though they throw at you something, you are actually ready and you can do it. You can go and land anywhere. People are taking your jobs because, they didn't study, they are not professional, but then they have taken advantage of the technologies. So same thing with you. Take advantage of the technologies. When the GNS, not everyone knew how to use it, and it's only those who knew how to use it that got the jobs. We're now seeing drones coming in. Learn how to do the drone, learn how to fly the drone. learn how to get the softwares and how to manipulate the data. Yeah, because trust me, where we are going, even 5 minutes are enough to survey a 3-acre piece of land. Yeah, rather than having to spend weeks and weeks in the field. At that note, I would love to thank both RSU Okeny and Dr. Ssengendo for the time they have spared to get us this kind of talk, because it is something that was really due and we really, really needed it as student surveyors. And as of those who are actually graduates, we pray that everything goes on well and you guys come back and get on board, because at the tail end of it all, when it's all working out for you, you'll just be like, oh, I remember I attended some meeting sometime there that actually brought up the use of I being an ISU member. Thank you so much for all. Thank you, Dr. Ssengendo, for enlightening us when it comes to the bit of ISU. And RSU Okeny, thank you so much for the insight and how we can actually cope up with very many things to do with the future of the profession. I've been graced to give a closing prayer. If I may, I would love to request us to humble ourselves before the Lord. Loving Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the sharing that we've had. We thank you for you have been part of this sharing. And we have learned as surveyors, Father King of Kings, we have learned the use and the importance of becoming student members. We have learned that, Father King of Kings, it is not just about knowing the theory and the practical that will get us there, but then it is actually getting the professional advice from each and every member up there who has gone before us. Mighty King of Kings, we pray that we put this into work, into our lives. And the same thing, Father King of Glory, the technologies that we have that are emerging in the profession, the likes of the LiDAR and drones. Father King of Kings, may we get the zeal to actually learn each of them. And Father King of Glory, let's not leave things here, but we actually take them out and put them into practice for the betterment of each one of us, because I do believe that all of us have been here for a reason, and it was not just so that we can listen to and leave it here. Thank you, mighty King of Kings. In your name I have prayed. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan, for that. I wanted to assure everyone who has attended that I'm going to share the soft copy of the Surveyor magazine to your respective presidents, Chambogo, Amakere. I'm going to share the soft copy. Then there was someone who was asking for the articles. I think when you get a soft copy, you can read through the articles. And thank you so much. And I want to thank RSU Geoffrey Okeny for attending, and also thank Dr. Ronald Ssengendo for sharing to us. And I think we can end the meeting here and catch us next time. Thank you so much for attending. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Mr. Tugume. Arnold. Arnold. Hello, Arnold.
Zip, Arnold.
Hello, Arnold.
Arnold, this data is done.
Mr. Kamia. Is the camera still on?
Yes, he's around.
I would wish him maybe to add me in the group of
You might have still on. I'm still on. Yes, sir.
Initials from Ndejje.
Yes, please.
You should be added in the group of ISU members because I'm not in the group, but I may miss out some of the information they'll be sharing.
Okay, do you have my WhatsApp number?
I don't have it right now. Maybe if you read it for me.
Yes, let me read it. Then you send me a text. Then I'll add you there.
Okay.
It's a 075.
Yes. 075
83
83
20
20
75 83 20 20 796 796.
796.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll text you. Thank you.
Okay.
That
I think
is
Arnold just without ending the meeting, but the meeting is done. Thank you, everyone.